Hello students, once again welcome back to English Literature Classroom. Today I am going to tell you about the poem Death of Naturalist by Seamus Heaney. This is in class 11th syllabus ISC board. Okay? Now, before starting line to line explanation, let me tell you something about the poem and the poet. The poem Death of Naturalist is one of the best creation of CMS Heaney published in 1966. The poem is divided in into two parts. The first part talks about the poet's childhood experience and also his love for Mother Nature, and the second part shows the poet's loss of innocence. Okay, due to due to adult due to the formulation of adult identities. Clear? Now let's start line to line explanation. All year the flaxdom festered in the heart of the townland, green and heavy-headed. Flaxes rotted there, weighted down by huge swords. Daily it sweltered in the punishing sun. Bubbles gargled delicately. Blue bottles wove a strong gauze of sound around the smell. There were dragonflies, spotted butterflies, but best of all was warm, thick slobber of frogspun that grew like clotted water in the shade of the banks. Okay, now let me tell you something about this poem. First of all, it is that throughout the poem, the poet uses blank verses. Okay, that means unrhymed iambic pentameter. There is no rhyming pattern. Now, all year the flaxdom festered. Now, what is the meaning of festered? Okay, festers mean cut or injuries festers. Okay, and next, what is the meaning of swords? Swords means something or someone considered unpleasant. Okay, and then another meaning is gargle. Okay, it means to move a liquid around your throat. Okay, without swallowing. Now, in this poem, we can see how a person loses his innocence and enters his adulthood, and with this whole scenario changes. Okay, this first stanza it describes the flax in the flaxstem. Now, flax. What is flax? Okay, it's a plant that, and from this plant, fibers are made. Okay, clothes can be made. Okay, now this and dam is, you can tell, pond or a hole, okay, full of water. Okay, so the first stanza describes the flax in the flaxdom or a pond where the flax rots over a large area. Okay, what happens? The flax rots over a large area and to soften its fibers. Okay, and where is this flaxdom situated? In the middle of a farm. Okay, here the description of the rotting flax, its smell, the scorching heat of the sun, and the gurgling of the bubbles, the sound of the blue bottles are well depicted in this stanza. And the poet has beautifully painted visual and auditory images. Clear? Now, here every spring I would fill jam potfuls of the jellied specks to range on windows at home, on shelves at school, and wait and watch until the flattened dots burst into nimble swimming tadpoles. Now, you can see this stanza in this first stanza, very simple language, okay, and it tells us the speaker's childlike mindset. Okay, now poet talks about his activities in spring when he would fill up his jars with frog spawn from the flaxdom and then takes them to his home and then in school. Again, we see the innocent activities of a child. Miss Walls could tell us how the daddy frog was called a bullfrog and how he croaked and how the mammy frog laid hundreds of little eggs, and this was frog spawn. You could tell the weather by frogs too, for they were too yellow in the sun and brown in the rain. Okay, now you can see there are no rhyming pattern. Okay, now over here the speaker mentions his teacher, Miss Walls, who gave the outline of the life cycle of the frog to the class. it becomes crystal clear that the boy was well impressed by all this. Okay? And in the end of the stanza, the speaker says, Miss Waltz used to tell them how the daddy frog was called a bullfrog and how the mammy frog laid hundreds of little eggs, and this was frog spawn. Okay? Now look, this is the second part of the poem. Okay, then one hot day when fields were rank with cow dung in the grass, angry frogs invaded the flax dam. I ducked through hedges to a curse croaking that I had not heard before. The ear was thick with a brass chorus right down the dam. Cross bellied frogs were croaked. Now, you can see here the change of a tone occurs, okay, with the word then. First part of the poem expresses innocence of the childhood, whereas in this second part, you will see the destruction of the childhood. In these lines, the speaker describes the frog as an army coming back to seize what was there. And in this part, the speaker has now a new experience in the flax dam, and his perceptions of his own actions shift. He now sees the frog is angry, okay, who have invaded the flax dam where they are usually absent. They croak loudly and threateningly. The speaker feels sick and afraid and he runs away from the scene. Through this poem, the poet makes us realize that childhood do not last for eternity. Whenever a child starts to become mature, he or she loses the innocence and thus never feels the same. Clear? Now, look, next I am suggesting some complete the sentences. As you all know, it's very important for IC board. Okay, now few important points also I have given you. See, the poet refers the frog as great slime kings, suggesting their dominance and control over the dam. And in the last you can see, I sickened, turned and ran. How the poet became scared of the adult frogs and he ran away, okay, from that flax dam. Whereas this place was very much, he was very much attracted by this place during his childhood. He used to come and collect the frog spawn, isn't it? So you can see how he had lost the innocence. Okay, now let's come to complete the sentence. Okay, first is the speaker wants to collect frog spawn because answer, he wants to watch their growth and activities. Second, in the second part of the poem, the speaker lost his interest in frog because he was scared of the adult frog. Okay, another you see, another I have given. The speaker tells you could tell the weather by frog because answer, frogs would be yellow in color in the end and brown in color in the rain. Okay. With this, I'm concluding this video. In my next video, I'm going to bring something new. Until then, goodbye.